Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here with you today to tell you my story and tell you about my cousin Mahvash Sabet. I was born into a Baha'i family in Zawaret in 1955. In the spring of 1955, while my mother was pregnant with me, there were violent attacks on Baha'is throughout Iran. For several weeks during the month of Ramadan, the Shah of Iran allowed a Muslim cleric by the name of Sheikh Muhammad al-Safi to deliver a series of inflammatory anti-Baha'i sermons on Iranian national radio that were designed to incite the population to violence against the Baha'i community. Angry mobs attacked Baha'is throughout the country, and several Baha'is were killed. Some were hacked to death. Baha'is were dismissed from employment, and their children were expelled from schools. Baha'i cemeteries were desecrated, Baha'i properties were looted, and the National Baha'i Center in Tehran was vandalized and its dome destroyed. In our small town of Zawaret, a mob marched through the street, shouting anti-Baha'i slogans and breaking down the doors of Baha'i homes. My mother had to hide in a closet in our home to try to protect herself and the baby she was carrying, me. When she heard the mob breaking down the door of the house, she fled, climbed up a short wall, and jumped to the ground. When she landed, she thought she had lost the baby from the impact of the fall, but thankfully I was born healthy. While the mob did not succeed in killing any of the Baha'is of our hometown on that day, the Baha'i community of Zawaret continued to suffer. My cousin Mahvash was 2 years old at the time, and her family ran the power plant and the mill in town. Their father was an entrepreneur who played a key role in bringing several technologies to Zawaret, including the first power plant and the first electrically powered flour mill. Following the 1955 mob violence, when people saw that Baha'is like Mahvash's family were actually prospering and their popularity increasing, and that even people from neighboring towns began to line up to receive meal services from Baha'is, they became jealous and angry. They began to attack Baha'i businesses and properties, and eventually managed to destroy the power plant and the mill. As a result, Mahvash's family lost most of their livelihood and was ultimately forced to migrate to Tehran in October 1963. In Tehran, my family and Mahvash's family continued to remain very close. Mahvash was 2 years older than me, and we were friends. We spent our childhoods together and remained good friends as we got older. When she fell in love with her future husband, Mr. Mahvash Sabet, and I fell in love with my future wife, Mahnoz, Mahvash and I would confide in each other about our dreams and future plans. Finally, on May 13, 1979, about 3 months into the revolution, Mahnoz and I had a small wedding and left Yaran for Washington, D.C. to continue our studies at George Washington University. At the time, I was 24 and Mahnoz was 22. Shortly after we left, my oldest brother and my brother-in-law were arrested and detained, though they were fortunately ultimately released. My wife and I ended up staying in the US and found a second home in Texas. Mahvash, however, stayed in Iran. Shortly before the revolution, she had become a school teacher and was very successful in her field, serving as the principal of the school for the children of Tehran's Air Force Base personnel. But soon after the revolution, Mahvash, like thousands of other Baha'is, was dismissed from her post because of her religion. In the years after the revolution, as most Baha'is lost their livelihoods and many Baha'is were imprisoned and killed, it also became increasingly clear that Baha'i youth in Iran would not be allowed to attend university, despite every effort on the part of the Baha'i community to appeal to the authorities. In 1987, In response to this ongoing situation, the Baha'i community established an alternative system for Baha'i youth, an informal network of volunteer-run college-level classes known as the Baha'i Institute for Higher Education, or BIHE. Mahvash was appointed to the original board that founded and ran BIHE, and she served as board secretary and a BIHE teacher for 18 years. During those years, she and I corresponded, and as I had obtained an advanced degree in curriculum design, I became a remote consultant for BIHE's Educational Planning Committee. I still treasure Mahvash's sweet letters from that time. Eventually, Mahvash also began serving as the Yaran Iran, or Friends of Iran, the 7-person ad hoc leadership group that was attending to the affairs of Baha'i community in Iran. In 2005, on the day of her daughter's wedding, officers of the Ministry of Intelligence came to Mahvash's home at 6:30 in the morning, searched the house, and announced they were arresting Mahvash. Out-of-town family and friends who were staying at Mahvash's home tried to persuade the officers to delay her arrest until the next day so that she could attend her only daughter's wedding, but they refused. They ransacked the house, but all the while Mahvash was comforting her guests and giving them instructions for conducting the wedding ceremony in her absence. They took Mahvash to a wind prison where she was held for 35 days. The authorities did not give her family any information about her whereabouts or whether she was even alive. And her daughter cried every day until Mahvash returned home. Then in March of 2008, Mahvash was once again arrested and detained, the first step in a concerted effort to target all of the Yaran. She was the first of the 7 to be arrested, as the others would all be arrested on May 14, exactly 7 years ago today. In 2010, I organized a large human rights event in Austin, Texas to honor the Yaran and other prisoners of conscience in Iran, which featured Roxana Saberi, the Iranian-American journalist who had shared a cell in the wind prison with Mahvash, and the other female member of the Yaran, Faliba Kamalawadi. I was able to speak with Mahvash by phone once before the event and once while Roxana was at our home the day after the event. Mahvash called us from prison, and I was so happy to have been able to speak with her, if only for a few minutes. At that time, I couldn't have imagined that she would still be in prison now, 7 years after she and the other Yaran had first been arrested and detained. I want to thank you all for being at this important event today. I hope that together we can raise awareness of the plight of the 7 Baha'i leaders and hasten the day when they and all people who are unjustly imprisoned in Iran will be released.